One of the most challenging aspects of communicating cancer risk from UV exposure is the long delay between cause and effect. You get sunburned in your 20s, and skin cancer might not appear until your 50s or 60s. This time lag makes it psychologically difficult to connect behavior with consequences, and it's one reason why prevention messages often fail to resonate, especially with younger people. So let's talk about why cancer development is so slow, because understanding this helps explain both the nature of the disease and why early prevention matters so much. Cancer is not a single event. It's a multi-step process that requires multiple things to go wrong in sequence, and this takes time. The first step is the initial mutation. UV radiation causes DNA damage, and sometimes that damage doesn't get repaired correctly, leaving a permanent mutation in a cell's genetic code. But one mutation is rarely enough to cause cancer. Your cells have so many protective mechanisms that a single mutation usually doesn't overcome all of them. The cell might function slightly abnormally, but it's still under control. The second step requires additional mutations. Maybe another round of UV exposure, or maybe just the normal errors that occur during cell division over time. Now you've got a cell with 2 or 3 mutations. It's behaving more abnormally, but still, usually not enough to become cancerous. The protective systems are weakened, but not completely disabled. This process continues, additional mutations accumulating, protective mechanisms gradually failing, cells becoming progressively more abnormal. Scientists estimate that it typically takes somewhere between 4 to 7 critical mutations in key genes before a cell becomes truly cancerous. And these mutations have to accumulate in the same cell lineage, which means a specific cell and all its descendants need to acquire this combination of errors. Time is required for several reasons. First, cells divide at a certain rate, and each division is an opportunity for new mutations, but also an opportunity for the immune system to recognize and eliminate abnormal cells. Second, early precancerous cells are often not very good at surviving. They're abnormal, which makes them less fit than healthy cells. Many of them die off or get eliminated before they can progress further. Third, even once a cell has enough mutations to be considered cancerous, it still needs to develop the ability to grow into a tumor, to recruit blood vessels, evade immune detection, and invade surrounding tissue. All of this takes time. There's also something called cellular senescence to consider. When cells accumulate damage, they often enter a state where they stop dividing but don't die. They just sit there inactive. This is actually a protective mechanism, a way to prevent damaged cells from multiplying. But senescent cells can persist for years, and under certain conditions, they can eventually escape senescence and resume dividing, now with all their accumulated mutations intact. From a prevention standpoint, this long timeline is actually somewhat encouraging. It means that cancer isn't inevitable even after UV damage. Your body has years or even decades to catch and eliminate precancerous cells. Every year that you protect yourself from additional UV exposure is a year when your immune system has a chance to clear out damaged cells without new damage being added. Every year is an opportunity to break the chain of mutations that leads to cancer. But the flip side, and this is the concerning part, is that the delay makes people complacent. Young adults in their 20s often feel invincible, and the idea that sun damage now might cause cancer in their 50s seems so abstract and distant that it doesn't change behavior. This is a failure of risk perception, not a failure of understanding. People know sun exposure causes cancer, but the knowledge doesn't feel relevant when the consequences are decades away. The message that needs to land is this: the time delay doesn't mean the damage isn't happening. It means you're playing a very long game, where the decisions you make today are setting the stage for your health outcomes 30 or 40 years from now. And while that's a difficult time frame for humans to think about naturally, it's the biological reality of how cancer develops.